the best thing that we can hope for, the most important thing we can hope for, or pray for, or ask for, is that our desires coincide with God's will. Because at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, it's going to be God's will. It's always going to be God's will. You try to understand what his, why he does what he does, and he's going to end up with a headache. Just do the right thing. Do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Ecclesiastes 3. There is a season for everything, and a time for every matter under the heavens. A time for giving birth, and a time for dying. A time for planting, and a time for uprooting what was planted. A time for killing, and a time for healing. A time for tearing down, and a time for building up. A time for crying, and a time for laughing. A time for mourning, and a time for dancing. A time for throwing stones, a time for embracing, and a time for avoiding embraces. A time for, a time for embracing, and a time for avoiding embraces. What? Come on. A time for searching, and a time for losing. A time for keeping, and a time for throwing away. A time for tearing, a time for repairing. A time for keeping silent, and a time for speaking. A time for loving, and a time for hating. A time for war, a time for peace. I mean, like I said, it goes back to, you're going to start with a prayer, you're going to do this with a prayer? Yo. There are no words more powerful than the book. Right now, giving your life to the Lord. Say it with me. Dear Lord Jesus, and right this moment, I receive you as my Lord and Savior. It's that simple. It's that simple, but you got to mean it. You got to mean it.